There are moments in life when the sky feels closed, prayers seem to bounce off the ceiling, and every road forward looks like another dead end. In those moments, we assume that heaven is silent, but perhaps it is only preparing an answer that wears a human face, a face we have not yet seen. For the God who shaped the stars often hides his help inside ordinary hands, waiting to cross your path at the appointed hour. We are far too quick to believe that divine help must come through thunder or miracles. Yet God, in his quiet wisdom, prefers the unnoticed routes. He chooses the stranger sitting across from you on the train, the voice in the crowd that says the right word at the right time, the kindness of a person whose name you may never learn. Heaven's messengers do not always wear wings. Sometimes they wear the same tired look you do. They may not even know that they have been sent. It is a humbling truth that God's help is often wrapped in human imperfection. He uses broken people to carry unbroken grace. The one who comforts you may be fighting their own unseen battle. The one who rescues you may never realize how deeply they've altered your course. It is not their strength that saves. It is the strength that flows through them, borrowed from a source that neither they nor you fully comprehend. Think of the chain of divine encounters that brought you to this very moment. Every story of redemption is woven with strangers whose names history forgets, yet heaven remembers. The innkeeper who made room, the child who shared loaves, the friend who stayed when others left. Each was a quiet vessel of God's help. None of them performed a miracle, yet all were part of one. So when life feels unbearably heavy and your prayers sound like echoes, do not despair. Help is already on its way, though you may not recognize it at first. God is not limited by distance, time, or familiarity. He can send hope through a voice you've never heard, guidance through a heart you've never known, and rescue through hands you never expected. The stranger you will soon meet may not know your pain, but they are carrying your answer. Heaven has written them into your story, and when they appear, you will understand that God never forgot you. He simply chose a new face through which his mercy would arrive. God often hides his help inside ordinary people we've never met. God often hides his help inside ordinary people we've never met. This truth quietly challenges our expectations of how divine intervention should look. We imagine that when heaven moves, the skies will open, the air will tremble, and light will break through in a way impossible to miss. Yet, more often, God's help arrives softly, through a person whose name you do not yet know, whose face you have never seen, and whose path will one day cross yours with perfect precision. The Creator of the universe does not need thunder to make himself known. He needs only a willing heart, placed in the right place at the right time. Perhaps you have prayed for strength, and the answer came through a conversation that lifted you when you least expected it. Perhaps you have asked for direction, and someone you never met before gave you a word that set your heart at ease. These are not coincidences. They are the quiet fingerprints of a God who moves through the ordinary to perform the extraordinary. When your heart cries out, heaven listens, and then heaven sends help, often disguised as a stranger who seems to appear out of nowhere. This is the mystery of divine timing. The right person appears just as the thread of your endurance begins to fray. You may not see the preparation behind it, the way God aligns stories, places, and moments so that lives intersect exactly when they must. But one day, when you look back, you will realize that nothing was random. Every encounter was part of a divine architecture built for your rescue, your comfort, or your awakening. And so, it is wise to treat every stranger as a possible vessel of grace. You never know when the person beside you might be carrying a word meant for your soul. The one who stops to listen, the one who smiles at your pain, the one who shows up when everyone else walks away. These are the faces through which heaven speaks. God's help rarely wears the garments of glory. It often wears the robes of humanity. You may not recognize it at first, but when you do, you will see that the help you prayed for was never late. It was simply waiting to meet you through someone you had never met. Divine answers rarely arrive through miracles, but through humble human encounters. Divine answers rarely arrive through miracles, but through humble human encounters. We often expect God to act with grandeur, to part the seas, silence the storm, or write His will across the sky. Yet the truth is quieter, gentler, and infinitely more profound. God works in whispers, not explosions. His help is woven into the ordinary fabric of human lives, through gestures so small they are almost invisible. The miracle is not always in the breaking of laws of nature, but in the bending of hearts toward compassion, courage, and kindness. When you think of how God has helped you before, perhaps you'll remember not flashes of heavenly light, but the person who showed up when no one else did, the friend who listened when words failed, or the stranger whose kindness renewed your hope. These are the small sacraments of daily grace, moments when the divine breaks into the human without fanfare or applause. It is easy to miss them because they wear no halo, yet they are as sacred as any burning bush. We long for signs and wonders, but God prefers relationships. He moves through conversation, through touch, through presence. The miracle is not that the impossible happens, but that people become instruments of the possible in the hands of a loving Creator. A word of encouragement can redirect a life. A gesture of mercy can restore a soul. These are God's chosen methods, simple, quiet, yet utterly transformative. And perhaps this is the greatest lesson of faith, that heaven trusts humanity enough to deliver its messages through us. The person you help today may have prayed for that very moment. The person who helps you tomorrow may have been guided by a nudge they did not understand. Divine work is not limited to altars and angels. It is alive in kitchens, in workplaces, in crowded streets, in moments too brief to be named. God has never stopped performing miracles. He has simply hidden them in the faces around you. If you have eyes to see and a heart to listen, you'll discover that His hand is always near-reaching through human kindness, quietly answering prayers without ever needing to announce itself as a miracle. The stranger sent your way may be the vessel carrying heaven's response to your prayer. The stranger sent your way may be the vessel carrying heaven's response to your prayer. God often chooses the unexpected messenger, one who bears no title, wears no sign, and has no idea of the role they're about to play. They walk into your life as if by chance, unaware that your prayer has been echoing through heaven and that their steps have been guided to your doorstep. To you, they may appear ordinary. To God, they are the answer wrapped in flesh and humility. Heaven's plans are rarely loud. They unfold quietly through people who think they are simply going about their day. You may have spent nights wondering if your cries were heard, but somewhere, someone was already being prepared. God was stirring their heart, arranging their path, shaping their compassion. He was teaching them lessons they would one day need to help you. Long before you met them, Heaven was writing the intersection of your stories. It may happen in a brief conversation, a helping hand, or a word that pierces the fog of your despair. You might not even recognize it in the moment, but later you will look back and see that this stranger carried the very thing you prayed for. There is a beautiful irony in how God works. He hides glory in simplicity, purpose in chance, and answers in strangers. The one who comforts you may never know what their presence meant. The one who gives you hope may walk away unaware they've been used by the Almighty. That is how divine love moves, silently, sincerely, and with perfect timing. So remain watchful, not fearful. When you least expect it, you will meet someone who seems like no one special, yet they will speak a sentence that awakens peace, perform a kindness that restores your strength, or open a door that felt forever closed. Do not dismiss these encounters as luck or coincidence. The help you have been waiting for is often already walking toward you, through a stranger carrying God's quiet instruction. Heaven's answer is nearer than you think, and when it arrives, it will come not with trumpets, but with a simple human touch that proves God never forgot your name.